will, that is, to a possible given of a universal law throughout its maxims. An action that can coexist with the autonomy of the will is permitted. One that does not accord with it is forbidden. It is because I agree with Kant that actions in accordance with the autonomy of the will are permissible, I stand in firm affirmation that, resolved, voluntary euthanasia ought to be legalized in the United States today. The value I wish to uphold in my affirmation of the resolution is autonomy, which is defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the quality or state of being self-governing. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy shows the importance of autonomy by saying, autonomy in this sense seems to be an irrefutable value, especially since its opposite, being guided by forces external to the self, and which one cannot authentically embrace, seem to mark the height of oppression. The value criterion that upholds my value of autonomy is preservation of rights, specifically the rights that are recognized within the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, seeing that the resolution specifically refers to the United States only. To clarify today's round, I would like to offer the following definition of voluntary euthanasia from the American Heritage Dictionary and from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. The act or practice of ending the life of an individual suffering from a terminal illness or an incurable condition, specifically conditions provided by A, the individual suffering from a terminal illness, B, is unlikely to benefit from the discovery of a cure for that illness during what remains of his or her life expectancy, C, is as a direct result of the illness either suffering intolerable pain or only has available a life that is unacceptably burdensome, because the illness has to be treated in ways that lead to her being unacceptably dependent on others or on the technological means of life support, or D, has an enduring, voluntary, and competent wish to die, and E, is unable without assistance to commit suicide. Contention 1. By not recognizing a person's autonomous choice to end their own life, that person's inalienable rights to life and liberty are violated. Subpoint A. Life. Since dying, i.e. from an incurable disease, is a part of life, we can intuitively see that in order for people to truly have self-governance, they must be able to determine the manner of dying and the timing of their death if those choices are available. As a result, an individual's governmentally recognized rights are violated when the government prevents the determinacy of their own death. The death of the patient is inevitable. Only the manner and timing of the death can be changed. Subpoint B. Liberty. If a person's autonomous choices are legally repressed, then their right to liberty is also repressed. Since the very definition of liberty, according to Merriam-Webster, is the power of choice, then it can be inherently seen that by forbidding a patient the choice to die sooner rather than later, the patient's liberty has been stripped away. Contention 2. A patient's ability to pursue happiness is hindered by not recognizing their autonomous choice to die peacefully. Death, in many cases, is seen as an ultimate harm for the person. However, in the case of voluntary euthanasia, death is actually beneficial for the patient, since they are suffering from intolerable pain. According to Ira Byack, doctor at the Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center, families cannot imagine there could be anything worse than their beloved one dying. But in fact, there are things worse. More generally, it is having someone who you love die badly. But when asked what dying badly meant, he said dying suffering, dying connected to machines. Denial of death at some point becomes a delusion. According to the patient, a sooner death would be more beneficial to them. So by not allowing them to actively end their own life, the government is restricting their capacity to have a life of happiness. Making the patient live in unnecessary anguish ultimately increases their unhappiness. This leads many, such as Richard Meyer, executive director at Online Strategic Solutions, to consider. Eventually, we are going to have to decide if it's better to keep someone alive, connected to the machines at a huge cost, with no hope of recovery, or to let them on to nature had intended. Sometimes I wonder, do we keep people alive in misery for ourselves or for them? Contention 3. The general welfare of the nation is strengthened by recognizing a patient's autonomous choices. In 2009, Medicare paid $55 billion for the medical bills of terminally ill patients in the last 2 months of their lives, according to a CBS News article, August 6, 2010. The fact that medical bills are not only shouldered by the loved ones of the patients, but also the U.S. government, means that by legalizing voluntary euthanasia, the cost of the government will decrease. Because voluntary euthanasia shortens the lifespan of the terminally ill individual, there is less time for ludicrous medical bills to accumulate. In fact, according to the same article, it costs $10,000 a day to receive medical treatment for some patients. If less medical bills are paid for by the United States, then the government is open to options which will increase the general welfare of the nation as a whole, whether it be cutting the deficit or reallocating the funds to achieve some other purpose. So by allowing individuals to pursue their own interests and happiness through voluntary euthanasia, the country as a whole is being benefited. Because it is important to preserve the rights of American citizens through upholding their autonomous wishes, I urge an affirmative ballot.